So how do you know how much base and variable? Finally getting around to answering the question the first person to ask a question asked. And the primary answer to that question is role prominence. The degree to which the seller causes the things that you are measuring them on as opposed to everything else. So indicators of higher prominence is that this job takes a lot of the seller's sales initiative and creativity, their own individual skill, maybe even their own personal network. Lower prominence indicators include you've got the lowest price thing out there. There are lots of people involved in getting this thing sold. So it's not just the seller. You already have great collateral developed. You've got a strong brand and nobody would consider buying this thing without considering your offering, etc. So the more it depends on the seller, the more incentive rich the pay mix would be, up to 50-50. The more the success of the sale depends on things that are not the seller, everything else, the more base rich the pay mix would be, down to as low as 80-20. So the suggestion here is you keep your pay mix at target between 80-20 and 50-50. Now, obviously, a person who has got a 50-50 pay mix and significantly overachieves will have a de facto pay mix that's much more than half variable. But at target, it's 50-50. Key point is that the prominence is not a characteristic of a role. I mean, of an incumbent, it's a characteristic of a role. So we don't talk about account executive. Susie is a high prominence seller, and account executive Joe is a low prominence seller. The account executive role is either higher or lower prominence, depending on how much it should depend on the individual versus all the other things that are going on. Also, prominence is not directly aligned with pay level. Some of your highest prominence roles, lowest prominence role, strategic large account manager, is also highly paid. So it's not the same as pay level or importance. It's just individual influence over outcomes.
Great.
So,
can I ask a question about that? Well, actually, you might actually
sure,
be
absolutely.
answering on this slide, but I'll just kind of maybe this could lead into this. So I know this is the thought process or the framework to consider, I guess two-part question. One is what do you typically see for companies that are, B2B SaaS, traditional B2B SaaS in terms of the split between base and variable, just, common
Default answer is 50-50
50/50.
for the
Okay.
account executive.
Got it.
For, I think, whatever you call it, solution specialist, solution engineer, product specialist. Yeah, there's all kinds of other words for the sales support roles. They can
Yeah.
they can be 70-30, 60-40, usually not 80-20. An inside inbound role. I'm saying inside too many times. Maybe 80-20, inside outbound could even be 50-50.
Got it. And then do you ever see any comp plans where there's a heavy variable compared to a base mix? And is that
Yes,
advisable?
I see them, and it's usually dysfunctional. So
Okay.
that's the point of this slide. And you know what?
Okay.
We're going to not cover all the steps here, but I'm going to go slowly enough to really make the key points here, and we're going to
Great. Thank you.
be happy that we got through pay mix. So this slide, I think, is really telling on that exact topic. So here we've got 4 possible pay mixes. 0-100, so that would be 100% variable pay. 50-50, 75-25, and 85-15, a little bit of variable pay. So what you see here is that the comp plan supports motivation really substantially over here. Meaningfully in 50-50, somewhat in 75-25, and to be blunt, the comp plan is really not the main thing that this person is working for. They're working for their boss and the direction they're getting from the business. Responsiveness to company direction, however, goes the other way. So this person who's working for their boss and for the good of the business and not the comp plan is going to be very responsive to the boss and the good of the business. Around 75-25, we're still going to be willing to try a new strategy, sell a new product, and rearrange my customers and all the things that you need to do for the business. Around 50-50, I'm going to be somewhat responsive, but I'm going to have an eye on my comp plan all the time. 0-100, you're going to find that that salesperson believes that their book is theirs. They're running their own business inside your company, and they are going to be very focused on doing what's best for them. So the attitude down here is the main point. I'm running my own business inside the company. The sale is mine. The customer is mine. Don't mess with my pay rates, my territory, my accounts. Over here, we're going to have an attitude 50-50 that I can't live on my base. Got to earn my variable pay to pay my bills. Around 75-25, our attitude goes to, it really matters to me to make my goals, but maybe I'll fall a little short. I'll stick around next year, might be better. And over here, it's great that we have a bonus program, especially when it pays out. So the question to ask yourself is, where do you want your salesperson's attitude to be? I'm just going to take a moment to point out that very early stage businesses, when you hire that first seller, it may make sense to go for this person who's going to be running their own business inside your company. By the time you're looking for an exit, if you're considering buying a business, if what they've got is 10 rock star sellers who are all selling their own way and running their own business inside that company, who could leave and take the business with them, then you've got one valuation. If, on the other hand, you've got a selling system that you can plug people you can find in the world into and get pretty predictable outcomes, and you're consciously competent, you know what the value proposition is, and you know how to teach it, then that business has a higher value because the business is not at risk with the exit of a single rockstar seller. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So on that basis, you may have to start here, but as soon as you can, get yourself to a situation where the company owns the relationship with the business and the sellers are executing on the strategy the company has devised. And that means something more like a 50-50 pay mix.